All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday, wherever you're at in the world. All right, let me do a couple refreshers, make sure everything is showing up correctly. There we go. Excellent. All right, so this is Paint with Lovejoy, and this channel is geared towards first-time and beginner painters, and today's painting is actually very, very fitting for somebody who has never painted before. All right, getting rid of the echo of my voice on the laptop. All right. Okay, so for today, like I said, I'm on an 8x10 canvas panel. Some of you may be on a stretched canvas. And on some of the other demos, there's usually a line drawing already on here. Today, we're going to do a kind of a bit more of a muted sunset background, and then we'll use a black silhouette for our crane design and some of the grass around there. All right. Oh, and we got a few people jumping on. Excellent, excellent. I feel a little out of practice doing the live demos because I've been doing so much filming with music on. But Photography Queen and Beverly and Denise, thank you guys so much for jumping on for the live feed today. Okay, so like I said, this is a perfect painting for somebody who has never painted before. So what we're going to do is kind of put a horizon line. We'll do our sunset above it and below. And then we'll use the black that kind of makes our silhouette design and defines our composition. So right now, as we do the background, you get to be an abstract painter. Anything goes, just have fun, and just kind of get lost in the process of painting. Nice. And hi, Jen. Thanks for jumping on. All right, so we are going to kind of start with a light color, and I'm on a whiter brush than I usually use in the demos. And I'm going to kind of keep my brush strokes pretty horizontal, but if you switch up your brush strokes, not a problem. So I'm going to take probably about 1 part white, 1 part yellow. And we're going to put our horizon line on here, and, you know, around halfway. I don't actually like to split the canvas in half exactly, so I go just a little bit below halfway. And once you place your first dot, to kind of get the dot on the other side, you can place your thumb in the corner, put your first finger where that dot is, hold that position, pull it over to the other side, and then you've got your mark. And then you can do the same thing in the center. Then you're going to connect the dots. All right. And Natasha, thank you for jumping on. Excellent. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. And I just went for it. Usually I would stumble over it. All right, so now we're going to be filling in this space. So I'm still sticking with that lemony yellow color. And like I said earlier, I'm going to keep with these kind of nice horizontal brush strokes. But while you're painting, try this brush stroke that I'm going to be using, which is using kind of the skinny portion. You could also try using the full width of the brush or making X marks. So if you've kind of stuck with the same brush stroke for quite a few paintings, try a different one today. Just switch it up. All right. So again, just kind of keeping with this nice back and forth little swaying motion, kind of light pressure. I'm not pushing really hard against the canvas. And we're just going to kind of create this nice little abstract design. We're going to go right below the horizon line and do the same. And I'm going to pull this actually all the way to the bottom of the canvas. At home, if you are on a stretched canvas, make sure that when you come to the edge, you paint the edge of that canvas. Carry that color around the sides, the tops, and the bottom. That way it just looks really nice when you hang it on the wall, having that on there. All right, let's see. Filling more of this in the sky. And then in a moment, we are actually, compared to some of the other demos that I've done on my channel, I use pretty bright colors. Today we're going to go for a bit of a muted, we're going to tone it down a little bit with some of our raw sienna. Excuse me. So I'm going to pull a little bit more yellow into the pile that I'm mixing with that white, but going a little bit darker than what you were just using, a little bit more yellow than you were using. And then now we're going to add a touch of raw sienna. And when you're first mixing this, because it's going to be kind of weird, kind of put that pile on the side and then slowly mix it in there. And then again, just notice how it kind of tones it down. This is what we called kind of an earthy, more of a muted yellow with the raw sienna in there. There we go. And again, with that same brush stroke, I am overlapping a little bit of that lemony yellow, as well as covering new area on the canvas. And as you overlap this color onto the lighter lemony yellow, you'll notice that the two colors kind of mix and blend and kind of create a new shade. And that is called wet on wet blending. So kind of have fun with that little transition. And if you even feel like finger painting, go right ahead. Sometimes that's fun to do, especially for first time painting. And if you're also a first time painter and you're using student grade paint, I do recommend that you apply your paint a little bit thicker. It'll stay wet a little bit longer and it'll be a little bit easier to blend. Take a little longer to dry, that's what I was trying to say. So if you have to mix your kind of your raw sienna and your yellow a second or third time, don't stress about the exact same shade every time. If it's a little bit lighter or darker than your prior color, that's okay. Little variety in your background is always good. So again, just kind of taking this muted color, extending it. We are going to go below that horizon line as well, and then we'll start introducing a little bit of orange. Now with this painting or any painting that I do on my channel, you are more than welcome to switch out colors. So if you prefer more oranges and purples, or maybe you want to do a blue sky, feel free to switch out your colors. Nice, and I see a few more people on the chat. Hi Angel and Robin, thanks for jumping on. And quite a few of you haven't left comments before, so thanks for making the live feed and let me know you're here. I appreciate it. If you guys have, excuse me, I should have brought my water in. If you guys have any questions at all on any of the videos, I try to respond to all my YouTube comments and stuff every couple of days at the latest, if not every day. But feel free to leave any questions or comments and I get back as quickly as I can. But I'm so thrilled that so many more people are painting and getting creative. All right, so not bad. And definitely we're kind of abstract painters right now, which is kind of the fun part of the painting process. So we're going to go a little bit darker, which means we're going to add a little more raw sienna and yellow. And let's see, let's go ahead and add a little bit of orange. Let's go a little more than that. There we go. So then this is starting to just kind of warm it up in a different shade. And same thing, we're just going to kind of hold the edge. And if you're noticing that your brush strokes just keep getting wider and wider and wider, take a look at your brush. Do you have a lot of buildup? Is there a lot of paint hanging out where the metal and the bristles meet? And if there is, wipe it off. You could even clean the brush, but that helps bring the bristles back together, removing some of that excess paint. So again, as you're getting started painting, just kind of check your materials, check your tools. You're learning a lot, so be kind to yourself. And each time that you paint, it gets a little bit more comfortable. And what you learned from the prior painting shows up in your next painting. So it's constantly building on your skills. All right, so again, just making a bit more of my yellow orange with some raw sienna. And if your shade is darker or lighter than mine at home, totally okay. Just use this video as a base guideline and trust your instincts. Your instincts are naturally guiding you where you need to go for your creative efforts. And I'm a believer that painting is more important about the process and you kind of escaping your daily world for a little bit while you're creating. And by getting creative, it helps the other aspects in your life. So please try to find your creative outlets as often as possible. So I am taking this color, going to be filling in the remaining space of the canvas, and then we're going to put some more darker colors on top of it and define our horizon line. Ooh, and I see a lot of stuff happening on the chat, so let me take a minute to look at that after I fill this in real quick. All right. I'm getting kind of spoiled with the premieres on Friday where I don't have to paint and make sure tech issues are cool and answer questions. Let's see. So awesome. Ooh, Petunia, okay, the George O'Keeffe one. Yes, I will look for that picture, Denise, and I will put it on the list. Definitely going to be doing a lot more George O'Keeffe. Many of you guys have talked about wanting more of those. And Gilla, glad you are enjoying the lessons. Thank you. And thanks, Natasha. Hopefully I said it right again. Really glad that you guys just enjoy the way that I approach painting and teaching it to you guys, and the encouragement. You guys have definitely made this channel grow. I think I started about 2.5, maybe close to 3 years ago. But it's from all of your guys' feedback and encouragement and all the comments on YouTube that's just continued to make this grow and even kind of get even more popular given our current circumstances. All right, so I was just filling in a few little spaces where I could see the canvas showing through. So now I'm gonna throw that in the water. We're gonna go down to a smaller brush, a little bit more control, and we're gonna go just a little bit darker, kind of on the edges of the canvas. So we're gonna use closer to just the raw sienna and some orange. And let's see, that's pretty dark. Let's see what it looks like. You will notice as you paint, it's going to look one way on the plate sometimes, and then when you apply it to the canvas, it looks a little bit different. That's what we call color theory. It looks different. We interpret our color based on the color next to it. So here I went about to where we had our horizon line and went below it. And again, still kind of keeping with that same linear horizontal brush stroke that I was using earlier. And don't have too much of this in the sky. We are going to be using some more direct orange and red in a moment. All right. All right, so I'm going to clean that out. We're going to move to a bit more of the orange. So just making a new pile. And I don't want it to be just the direct orange, so I am going to pull a little bit of that brownish color that we were using a moment ago into here. And even just that little bit of that color tones it down just a touch. And still just kind of continuing down from the area we were just applying the prior color. And if you would like your brush strokes to be a little bit more smooth, you can kind of see that I'm applying it kind of from the edge of the brush compared to just the tips of the bristles. Sometimes that helps when you're applying your paint a little bit thicker, or because I'm using student grade paint, it's a bit on the transparent side. So if I apply it a little thicker, it's a little bit more opaque. So to apply it thicker, that's where I come in with this kind of 45-degree angle. And like I said earlier, as you are painting more and more, just keep challenging yourself to trying to use your tools in a new way, trying to hold the brush in a different way, and just kind of get a comfort for what you enjoy painting. All right, so going above the horizon line, I think it's time we can move into some of our darker colors. Let's throw some fresh orange and a touch of red. And when you're mixing red with any color, a little bit of red goes a long way. And we're kind of going for a burnt orange. And again, you may make your color here, and then once we apply it, it might be too much, a little, feel free to adjust. Not too bad. And if you are inclined to put any of these colors somewhere I don't, like if you want to start throwing some darker colors in here towards the top, go right ahead and do that. One of the great things about painting is you're getting to learn about the things that you like, the colors you like, stuff that you're inclined to paint, certain subject matters. So art is a very personal exploration. All right, and as you get into even this stage, and again, we're still an abstract painter, I want you to get out of your chair, look at your painting from a distance of 5 to 10 feet away, and what does it look like from that distance? Do you want darker in a certain area? Do you want a little bit lighter in another area? When you look at it from the distance of 10 feet away, that's the normal viewing distance for just most things in life, and especially artwork. So the more that you can get in that groove of looking at it from the perspective that others are going to look at it and making sure it looks the way you want it to from that perspective, just the better you will evolve with your own painting skills. All right, so I want a bit more of a contrasting color, not much. So I am grabbing some of that direct red by itself. And because a lot of these colors, the orange and the raw sienna mixture, are still wet, this is actually mixing together. So you can only do this while your paint is wet, or this color will apply a little bit more solid on there compared to mixing with the base underneath. Okay. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Nope, good for George O'Keefe. Lots of votes for that. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I think we can wait for the sun. We will put that in there later. All right. For the next step, I do recommend those of you at home to fully let this dry because we're going to move into the black paint. And if you want to do more blending, like if you don't like how kind of choppy and distorted maybe this particular area looks, it's not so blended, go back and do any blending that you want while your paint is wet. I'm doing mine kind of in a swift manner, and it'll be pretty cool once we start moving into the black how quickly it changes our focus on this abstract painting at the moment. All right, so, and using the medium flat brush or even a small pointy brush, feel free to go back and forth with whatever you would like. So I'm going to grab that black paint. We're actually going to put a little island out here. So going back to where that horizon line is, and if you need to kind of make a new horizon line, go for it. So just kind of putting a straight line at the base, and then we're going to give it a bit of a mountainscape. Not too high, but if you want a super high mountain or your cliffscape, feel free to adjust this to what you want. And then I'm going to fill that in with the black paint, and you can be rather generous with the application and the amount of paint that you're putting on here. If some of the orange and the underneath colors are showing through, just apply your black paint thicker because you do want this to be pretty solid. That's the beauty of the silhouettes. All right, and then we do have kind of a bit of a lake here, so I'm going to kind of cut off these corners, and then our crane is actually going to hang out about right here, and then we'll put a few little birds in the sky. All right, and again, full permission if you want to change something out, just Google the subject matter that you want and put the word silhouette after it. And you can change this up and make it your own. And no matter what you paint, whether you change it up or you paint what I'm painting here today, please email me your photos. Love seeing those. Social media loves your photos. And because of your photos alone, telling your friends about all of this, that has been what's made this channel grow. So I love seeing the photos, and it's just great to pass them on and encourage other people to paint. So email those to me. There'll be a link below with the contact info. And tag me in your social media outlets when you post these to your outlets. All right. Pretty cool how the black is starting to change the shape of everything. I'm going to move down to the pointy brush. And when you're working with the pointy brush, you want to kind of play with the pressure of your brush. If you treat it like a pencil and use just the tip of the brush, you'll create a little bit of a skinnier line. And when we're doing some of our, I guess the lake little weeds and stuff, we'll be using some skinny lines for that. But wherever you're at today, just kind of play with the pressure, and it gets easier with more practice. So I am adding a little bit of water to the plate so I can mix it in with the black, and that gives me a little bit more fluidity with the paint, especially if it's kind of thick and stays in the shape when you pull it out of the container. There is some paint that as soon as you put it on the plate, it's just gonna like bleed and run into the other colors. If you have like that, you probably don't need to add the water because it's already runny enough. But if you have paint that's kind of nice and viscous like this, you can add a touch of water. Okay, enough explanation for the water. All right, so let's get the subject matter out of the way. So for our crane, we're going to break it down into kind of a few simple shapes. And I'm going to draw the outline first, and then I'll fill it in. So if you want to, you can practice this on a scrap sheet of paper, and I recommend practicing with the brush, so that way you can get comfortable with the pressure. So we're going to start with the shape, the body first, and it's almost kind of like almost an eye slit or even an upside down teardrop. So I like to start with the curve, and then we've got his little back. Okay, don't overthink it, and like I said, just take it one step at a time. For this, I'm actually going to use a bit more pressure, so that way the width of my brush will create the shape of the head, and then we'll pull it for the neck coming down. So I'm going to start with the head first. So if you kind of hover about kind of the top, the crest of the curve right here, we're going to go up maybe about an inch and create kind of a, not a full perfect circle, it's a bit more of an oval shape. That's going to be the head of our crane. And then at the back end of that oval shape, and I'm going to use kind of medium pressure, so this is going to be a bit wider brush stroke. I'm going to pull it right down, and if you pull into there, go right ahead. Don't think too much. And then for the beak, again, light pressure, and if you need to, you can put your pinky out, rest your finger there, and use that as your pivot point, or what I'm actually doing is resting my forearm against the edge of the table. I just don't think you can actually see that part in the video. So whatever you need to do, and if you're finding that you're shaky as you go to make these lines, that means you're holding your breath. So exhale as you touch the brush to the canvas, and that will make it a little bit easier. So basically we're going to be doing a line for the beak. So again, try not to think too much, just place your brush and pull it back towards the head of our crane. Now he usually has his little feet down here, and again we're going to do the same thing using the width of the brush. So kind of pulling it here, and it does kind of get lost in the water, and we'll do the reflection in a moment. But I wanted you to get the shape, and then we're putting the other leg in there. And again, it would kind of get lost in the water right there as well. And just to kind of see your shape, let's go ahead and fill in the body. And this would be another point that would be good to get out of your chair and look at it from the distance, just to make sure that it looks okay. Excuse me. And if he has a bit of what we're going to call unique character, embrace that. Everything, every person, every animal is unique unto their species. So if you happen to, maybe make a bit more of a bulge right here, you just have an extra strong bird. Or if he's got something else, give it a story, give it something unique and give him a name. It's more important that you're painting. We're not going for perfection, especially in the beginning stages. We're going more for learning and getting comfortable. And a lot of that is mental attitude. All right. Oh. Okay, I saw it process for a minute, so I got scared. All right, looks like that one's still going. Okay, so good job on getting the crane in there. Clean any of the edges up that you need to. And then we're also going to practice these small skinny lines. So if you happen to not be able to make some of these skinny lines for the grass, then that just means you have very healthy grass today, and that you've got a nice environment that your bird is living in. But play with the pressure of your brush, and if you have varying widths of your lines, that's okay as well. So I like to kind of start where my blade of grass is going to end, and then just kind of allow gravity to kind of pull it back into, or back down to the bottom of the canvas. And again, if you need to, you can add a little touch of water to your paint to help with that fluidity. And if you do not want to add any grass or any of these elements, or you want to add something different, go right ahead. And if you're watching, you're noticing that I am probably every brush stroke, I'm grabbing fresh paint. So remember to do that. You're going to get kind of in a groove, and you don't want all, you basically don't want your movements wasted. So every brush stroke, grab some more paint. Overlap your lines. Think about nature. We've got stuff coming all around here, so I'm going to be filling some over here as well. And let's see, even if you have a few that are pretty tall. If this is proving super, super challenging, like I said, you don't have to do it. And if you want to, but again, you're finding it challenging, let your paint fully dry, and you could actually do this with a Sharpie marker. Always options. All right, and then let's put a few little, maybe rocks in the water. And it's okay if you have some of these lines that even overlap your bird. Again, it helps give this illusion of space when you have overlapping objects. And if you make your line and have to go over it a second time, that's okay as well. All right, and then our crane would actually have a bit of a reflection coming on, and it would be pretty strong since the sun's actually close to the horizon line. So we would imagine that the legs would be reflecting first. So I'm going to put my brush kind of at the end of where this leg ends, and then I'm going to kind of wiggle it a little bit, and then at about this spot it's going to get a little bit wider because that would be the reflection of the body as well. So again, kind of touching that brush, we're going to wiggle. Then it's going to get a little bit bigger and come down and kind of blend it, kind of blending it into that base. And then we have to connect this one as well. And if you want any birds in the sky, going back old school. All right, and I lost my chat, so I apologize if you're asking any questions or making any comments right now. I'm going to jump on and look at my phone. But we are kind of at the conclusion of the painting. This one was kind of a quick one. The silhouettes are nice and fun ones to do just kind of quickly, especially if you don't have a lot of time. And like I said earlier, if you want to make this shades of blue and purple and pinks, go right ahead and do that. So I am going to move back up to the middle flat brush. We're going to use the white and put the sun in there. You do want to make sure you get all that black paint out though before you move to that color. Same if you were going to move to yellow. All right. So to make the sun, it's going to go about right here. Kind of one of the tricks that I tell people, you could actually use the end of the brush and place a dot if it's going to be a small one, or you'll load the brush up and kind of place a dot where you want the sun to be, and then just make that dot bigger compared to trying to draw a perfect circle. And again, if you have that transparent paint, kind of get your shape on there and then come in at that 45-degree angle to apply that paint a little bit thicker. All right, and then taking that, we're going to do the reflection on here. So kind of going back to those first brush strokes that we were doing at the beginning, holding it perpendicular, and we're just kind of doing this back and forth, imagining that this is that reflecting of the sun on the water. All right. And like I said, if you want to add anything else to it, go right ahead. Please send me your photos. This was a really fun painting. I believe tomorrow is, I forgot what, but it's a cartoon character. We'll do that kind of pop art style. And again, I've got a good list going of a bunch of new subject matters, but please feel free to send me what you want me to paint in the future. Check out my online school, Paint with Lovejoy, and the Paint Your Pet course, and the Intro to Palette Knife Scraping. And keep getting creative. So thank you guys so much for taking time and hanging out with me. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow, and have a great weekend. Cheers.